I just turned the live stream on, so ready when you are.
Checking with you on timing.
Yeah.
We have found that, Portland readers.
Oh yeah,
tend to
5
show-
minutes later.
Exactly. So, great. Sounds good.
What minutes you have? Because there was like people told us to music and I still think,
Okay. No, it doesn't. So, yeah, like, I've got a large library that we like. This is one of those services. So, like, what
I don't know.
would you like me to enter?
lo-fi or
Okay. Okay. She's getting got it.
but I came by on Tuesday to do the taste testing, so I created something earlier.
That makes me so happy. Like a creature, chocolate.
Yeah.
Can you get the little sliver of chocolate?
They did just send the pair of wine. So
Are you gonna stream?
yes. I'll check in with them for questions. You guys for questions. Yeah, I'm trying to do things and not me.
Just what you do.
It's just, it's not, it's not very,
Is it YouTube?
yeah, it's just broadcasting to YouTube.
Just your channel live.
Yep. Yeah, there will be a lot of typos because I'm squatting and doing different things at once.
I'm giving a workshop tomorrow. I'm reading my grandson, maybe my texting for do
Oh.
full PowerPoint, get that set up.
Yeah.
Good to have.
It was your daughter who told me to do that workshop that I went to, right?
Yeah, right now my granddaughter's 14.
So knows it all.
She knows it all. She
Yeah.
knows all of those stuff. She's like, we're gonna use you. Oh. But if you like, you need to. Pretty soon she'll just. Everything.
I think it gets your mind into a place of selling. I don't think
That's true. Where they did, you know, Olivia Rodrigo.
Yeah.
They love.
Like, I'm like, with the school, I remember kids in college doing projects, kind of like, I bought them.
My neighborhood. So I have to feel like spicy. My friend was just finished. I know I
You're like,
yeah.
so that's why I stayed away from it. I'm allergic. No. I heard that as well.
And she's
Yeah.
but she's still reading it. I just noticed that.
I recorded it.
No,
Yeah, the last one I just heard.
I can't
Yeah,
read
good
it.
job. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, yeah.
I thought I could get that. It was too much. And you know, then she said
Still doing.
Is it the narration? Yeah, I don't usually do it. I can't. For some reason, I can't follow them.
I like that.
Yeah. The one tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah.
In the work in Masterclass program, you know the Masterclass.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that, but you'll see some video.
Okay, so there's that, and then we're in the same group, the program, it's like organization. We do
Yeah.
Yeah, over there.
Right. Way over.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I think she would really wait for her notes to be good.
Oh,
In the
okay.
middle of your
Yeah.
reading, but
Yeah, I was gonna say I have some things to do that, yeah, it's fine.
I
Either way,
because the first part is just going to be introducing Chad. I can kind of, if you want to get the entertainment started. Good evening and welcome. Thank you all for being here tonight. I am so excited to get to celebrate Margaret and her new book. Right? My name is Allie Shaw. I use she, her pronouns. I am one of the owners here of Bold Coffee and Books. My other half is the other owner, and we don't have kids tonight, so sorry to miss it. But we just opened not quite 3 months ago, so we haven't been here for very long. It has definitely been an adventure. In the beginning, we were working on a Kickstarter to help sort of supplement the business loan that we received in order to get all this up and going. And Margaret was so helpful with that Kickstarter and sharing all the word. And she was also one of our biggest supporters. So she bought the Host Your Book Launch Gold package. So here we are.
Perfect. That's great.
Exactly. If you haven't had a chance to try the specialty drink yet, Margaret was here 2 days ago, and we've made a bunch of different ones to test them out and get them going until we found just the right set. So definitely try that sometime tonight if you haven't tried it already. And she made homemade flapjack to go with it. So it's delicious.
Sugar bomb.
Yeah. I could eat that all day. That's my new candy. And let's see here. What else was I going to cover? So we do events every Friday and Saturday. We have readings, and on Saturday mornings we have children's story time. On Tuesdays and Fridays, Wednesdays and Fridays, we have write-ins, and on Tuesdays we have some sort of a routine reader writer social, whether it's an open mic or a silent reading party. We've got an event every Tuesday that's along those lines, kind of that's the social end. So we welcome you to join us for any of those other events as well. Follow us on Instagram, all the fun things. Margaret's a super fan on Instagram. She's so great about sharing everything. So big thanks to you. So I think many of you know Margaret, but not everybody. So I'm going to share a little bit here. Margaret Pinard has spent her first few decades traveling the globe in search of adventures to incorporate internal writing, including living in the lands of the Celts, the cities of European fashion, and several Dolce Far Niente Mediterranean cultures. She loves research and will use any excuse to learn about Celtic cultures in the 19th century. She is a keen and omnivorous reader, a traveler who loves to plan, and a lover of song and dance in many forms. And rumor has it we're gonna see some of that tonight. Here's some of that.
maybe,
Yeah, if we're nice, if we earn it, right? Her novels include The Caning, The Grasping Root, and Storm Rack and Spindrift, which make up the historical drama series Remnants. Memories Hostage, the historical mystery. And is it Dolce's Legacy? Dulce. Okay. See? I'm only like 25% with pronunciation. Tulsi's Legacy, a YA mystery fantasy hybrid. And now, Orla Rafferty seeks her fortune. Margaret resides in Portland, Oregon, basically next door. Please join me with an enthusiastic welcome for Margaret.
Okay. Thank you everyone for coming and welcome. I was gonna start off speaking about why this book is the one I wrote for number 7. So there's one more short story collection in between, and that's like all I can do during the pandemic, right? Shortened attention spans, shortened stories. But this is my first book since I've come out of the pandemic, and this is my first event since I've come out of the pandemic. So, yeah, so like trying to get those muscles back in use. And what took so long was that I had a really close to my heart goal in writing this book. And so one of the books that I wrote for it didn't quite cut it, and so it's in a drawer right now. And so I had to write that several times before I realized this is not the one, and put it away. And that was in the 1890s and in America. So the time period is during the Gilded Age. So that was pulling at me. It's a political reform time. It's a time of inequality. It's a time of extremes where the lavish wealth is out of control and the poverty is stark and glaring. And so the two extremes really called to me in terms of comparing and contrasting and getting at people's feelings. But setting it in Chicago at the World's Fair in 1893 just wasn't working. I couldn't figure out how to end it. So that is in the drawer, and you'll know the pain of that. It's gonna live there for a while. But after that, I pulled back a little and said, okay, what else can I look for? Where there's political reform, where there's great extremes, where there's a feeling that I can put on display, some kind of story that will fit in between the big events in history to show what the regular person's life was like. And that's when I started researching the beginnings of that reform. So in 1890s, we had the beginnings of progressive reform in America, but the beginning in the UK was the abolition, the Catholic emancipation. So we've got religion, we've got race, and political reformation with the Reform Act. And so I won't go any more into it because I know that level of political nerdery is very niche, but it all happened in a very short amount of time. So once you have the kings, rotating out and Queen Victoria rotating in, you were given little spaces to make change. And so a lot of things happened in the 1830s, and I thought, this is my decade. So I started researching that, and I got pulled back to Scotland because I can't stay away. And that is why this takes place in the 1830s in Glasgow. And Orla Rafferty Smith, even her full name, is a new widow. She's just coming out in the morning. And she's got some funny things she's got to track down to do with her investments, because she started out one place in life and has worked and then married and then become widowed. And she's ended up in a very different place, a much more comfortable place. So that gave me a character who had a range of experience to show to people and a range of empathy to share with the audience as well. And so, yeah, that's when I dropped her in and I said, okay, go fly free, see what you bring me back. And that was really fun to draft. And then of course not as fun to edit because I'm a draft. Again, you can be on either side of that fence. We're all good. So that's where I came here with that topic and that book in this moment. And I have some things planned for tonight. But first, I'm going to ask if you want to think of a question for the Q&A period. Start thinking of that. And this is a trivia game that is somewhat about somewhat about just general history. So if you guys want to come up and pick a card off, I will be be giving you a white elephant gift exchange to go with the trivia game. So the way that will work is there are 9 here. So I think we're just missing out one, unfortunately. But I didn't think of a way to choose people, so I'll just take volunteers. Someone wants to come up and try to answer a question. A brave volunteer. Made a motion. Right, wrong moment. Okay.
Is it an option?
Yeah, exactly.
Do I need to come up
You can have, so I just made these little word valley things with pretty paper. You can take one home, but you can just read little trivia questions on a piece of paper. And then the first person gets
one
first.
Okay.
Yep.
Come up.
And then take a mystery gift.
Should I read first? Mystery gift?
Take a mystery gift and then read the question.
Okay, pick the mystery up. This is on how to follow instructions. Okay. It says out.
Oh, in ORLA. So we can book one.
Okay. Who was the reigning monarch on the British throne when the story starts in 1833? Do I have to try to answer it? Thoughts?
Till the end of the reading.
So if you don't get the question, you can't open the gift, but the next person giving thing can steal or pick up a new gift.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to answer that question and try to steal? Oh, I didn't.
I feel like you just said it, and I just can't recall.
Yes. Did you
Close. No, it's the one in between. William IV, the sailor king, the one who no one remembers, which is so in that sliver of history.
very good where you can do a lot with it. Yeah. There's not much written.
No one knows about it.
Margaret. Yeah. All right. So
So,
then what happens?
so you can take it.
Yeah, thank you.
Keep your gift. It's gonna remain a mystery. Who's next? Go ahead. Yeah. Take a card, pick a gift. These are all like bookish things that I went through and thought, oh, I'm not gonna make use of this. Someone will really appreciate this. But
You can really take it off. It'll be easier.
oh, it's just washi tape. You can grab it.
That next.
Oh, you can take the whole thing.
Trying to be.
So,
Okay,
what's your question?
let's see. What is Margaret's channel known for on YouTube?
Okay. You know that?
Yeah, but I think it's probably fair for me to answer.
Oh, I don't think you know it. Go ahead.
Maybe I don't. Maybe I'm
Oh, you better-
overgeneralizing.
What's your
Like,
Oh,
it's like discussing writers and sort of, seems like mentoring almost.
reading and writing? Yeah, that works. That works. So actually, so this is where I do a little education along with my entertainment. Actually, the answer that I was thinking of is streaming. Not a lot of people stream all their videos. They usually record them and post them. But that's really a question that the YouTube crowd would know instead of the in-person crowd. You can open yours up because I am a Booktube channel. So that works. Yeah.
75 chats right now.
Right, let's see. Yep. Hello.
So how many people are watching? Can
Um,
you tell?
they're probably coming in and then leaving because I'm not paying attention. There's 3.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a journal. Yeah, you can take a seat. I'm gonna bring so for the next card. I'm gonna be dishing out history facts and Margaret facts and other fun things.
I got that question. I wanna know.
Question. What was the status of relations between Ireland and the United Kingdom? 1833? I'll say bad. Accurate. Relations between Ireland and UK. I guess I was going for, were they part of it or were they separate at that point? And they were part of it. So yeah, the Act of Union in 1800 subsumed the Irish Parliament. It was abolished, and so then they only had representatives in London in the English Parliament. And so
That didn't go down.
the reason I have Irish facts in here as well as Scottish facts is that this trilogy is going to be about a descendant of an Irish rebellion, failed rebellion participant who came over to Scotland to escape the consequences of his actions. And so his children are the ones that I'm following through these stories. So we're going to get immigrant, we're going to get someone out of their own country sort of experience, as well as like trauma handed down generations, and that's what, like, melding together. Fun. Sure. Yeah, bad. Why is it that solid? Yeah. I know, the nerdery. I feel like I need to read a book, a history book. I've read so many history books, but. Ooh, nice. Page flag. Finish for the reader. Cool. We can pause this part, but that just means that people who have their gifts might get them stolen. Did you try to get enough?
I don't do coffee.
Oh,
No, how's that for you?
I could have just made it a steamer, but. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's know what this is.
I don't.
Oh,
I'm really excited because it just seems like
cute.
cute. H. for
History.
history. Why did I, Margaret, make Orla a widow rather than married or single? Because she would have more rights.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you're single, you have to be chaperoned. When you're married, you're subsumed under your husband's protection, i.e. not a person. But when you're a widow, you do have the right to own property and do with your money what you will. Yeah, we can watch it. Beautiful fun. Oh, thank you.
There's a stealing component to this.
Yeah. If you see it,
Yeah, everybody wants Washington.
Oh, you want us to
yep.
pull one out first or regular, like that? We've got O for Orla. Okay. In which industrializing city of empire is Orla set?
Yeah.
We are in Glasgow.
Yes. It used to be called the second city. It was kind of like our Chicago. So where we had New York and then Chicago was like the up and coming industrial city powerhouse. Glasgow had the same relationship to London. So London was the capital that had all the society, but Chicago was muscling its way through. So it's a puzzle.
We have a very wee puzzle called Snowy London. Oh, it's a little street scene.
How sweet.
It's very tiny.
Yeah.
Very wee.
You can wait. You can do a pause.
There's so much left.
Three left.
I mean, I got your few questions in the meantime.
Yeah. Yeah, we can take a pause. Go ahead and we'll do that. And I've got, let's see if there's any questions in 2 minutes. Nope, just lots of highs. Okay. Hi. So, do you want to sit? Do you want to stand?
I mean, no, I'll bring up, you sit there. I'll sit here. Okay, with,
Try to cross the back. In Norman here.
no, I'll get a little closer.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. If I don't use the microphone, can everybody hear me okay? Yeah. Okay, great. So definitely the first one, so I'm gonna skip to the second one. How do people in these times inspire one another to fight against injustice?
That's a new question. Okay. So that's great. It fits in really well with the bookstore because the bookstore features marginalized voices and brings attention to populations that have been struggling to be heard. So, injustice in the 1830s, there's so many ways you can slice that cake. Because I am a white lady, chose to do it in a way that is through the eyes of a white woman. And she is learning about the world in a way that she hadn't been brought up to do. So she started out as a poor immigrant family. She's come up from working at the church house. She had a good position there. She caught the eye of a traveling pastor and got married. So she's come up the ranks a little bit. She's done some social climbing. And I don't touch on that at all, except that's her backstory. So what we see is her learning about other people's predicaments after she's already been made comfortable. And what she sees is that there is a lack of information, and that means that people can't fight for their own rights. So she gets involved with the unstamped press movement, which is trying to take taxes off newspapers that are run by common folk, and participates in the library, goes to meetings where people are visiting as speakers, and listens to people from far off lands like America talk about slavery and why it needs to be wiped off the face of the earth. She also talks to people that she meets about these things and trying to understand them. And I felt like it was a good way to represent my own journey a little bit in terms of what can someone do who's been so privileged to get to understand the injustices of the age, like racism and religious discrimination and gender discrimination and all those things. I don't know if that answered your question, but I think it was close. It's adjacent.
Well, and I just absolutely love this approach of creating a character who is learning about the injustices of other communities and caring about it and building this deep compassion for it instead of being kind of having the blinders on. Which honestly, when I think about history, I think about a lot of people having the blinders on, and so I love this concept of the character growth there. So, yeah. How did you decide whom to include from history along with fictional characters?
Okay. So this is where you see a lot of didn't make it on here. Is even more specific nerdery. So in the research that I did, I had a whole poster board of names. So when I went through, I would find people who were journalists, who were union organizers, who were religious folks, who were doctors, philanthropists, what have you, in all different places around Scotland and London. And I put their names and I sort of tried to link them. I tried to have one of those like red yarns, spiderweb things that didn't really work. They were in the wrong place, the wrong time. So I had to do sort of pastiches of characters to incorporate something for the plot, but also like realistically, what position would that person have to reach Orla's ears? You know, there's a lot of sort of, you know, carving things together. But the people who did fit in, I made them real characters that, again, nobody knows about, but they were real people, and they have, you know, like a paragraph in Wikipedia somewhere. And so I just thought it would be neat to put real people in. I have a mention of William Wilberforce, who is the most famous abolition advocate, white guy in that time period because he fought for it for his whole parliamentary career and before and after. But there's a lot of people who were agitating for it outside of that, who were working to change the reform bill to get enfranchisement, who were marching to get people out of jail, who were imprisoned because they were protesting the taxes on newspapers. So all these little pieces are little injustices. And when I saw someone who was like, well, he doesn't violate too many things in my plot, I'll put him in there. So people can go, oh, a real person, I'll look him up. I'm trying to spark curiosity about history. So when it worked well enough, that's when I let the people say their own names.
Nice, I love that. So I think that our homework assignment, all of us as readers, is to go onto the Wikipedia pages and suggest edits for this person is featured in Margaret Portland.
Very and if you're wondering who is and who isn't, it's in the author's note at the end. I did want to make it very clear who is real, who is not, so that if you have an interest in one of the characters, you could look it up in places.
Thank you for making that easy for us, the readers. What is the feeling you want readers to have when they finish ORLA?
Okay, so this is the thoughtful bro question. If anyone knows about Mighty Blaze, who I've been volunteering with for 5 years now, they're an author cooperative that do interviews for people going on book tour who had their book tours yanked out from underneath them at the time of the pandemic. And we continue doing it just because it was a cool, fun, co-op-y thing to do. And one of the shows that airs on Tuesday is called Thoughtful Bro, and he always asks this question, Mark Cecil. And so I think it's really good to get at the author's intentions, because sometimes intentions go awry, but having the information about what was intended is useful. And for me, when you finish this book and you read that epilogue, the epilogue, what I want you to feel is a little bit of a knife in your gut, because it twists at the end. And I think that is what makes people witness to like the pain of change and want to keep reading to see, oh, well, how does it get picked back up? So in case you haven't read it, you got that to look forward to.
I have a couple of off-script questions. If that's all right.
Yeah.
Okay. So the title is ORLA Seeks Her Fortune. And in the description, you've mentioned a couple of times that she's in a comfortable place, which there can be a wide range of what a comfortable place means. But it kind of has me thinking like maybe she's got a little bit of a fortune already. I'm curious about the title. If you can explain it a little bit more without spoiling.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wait, spoiler territory. How do I? Okay, so I had a very good friend from a Mighty Blaze tell me that I shouldn't go with the title that I wanted to because it was too mystery sounding. Okay, so I still want it action-y, and I love the double play on fortune, because when you seek your fortune, it sounds adventure-y, but in a metaphorical way, not like there's actually going to be pirates. So I didn't want to disappoint anyone's expectations. And what she's really doing is seeking out a different way of life and a different way of being in the world. So that sounds very modern, but I think people did that in every age. And it's the seeking part that I was really inspired by. Because like I said to the previous question, trying to listen, trying to learn is the process we're witnessing here. And so seeking is really the first step. And we get to like see her transform a little bit, and it's like the beautiful part. So the fortune is not literal. She doesn't end up with a pot of gold at the end, even though she's descended from Irish folks. And yeah, just like to be mysterious and give some action to the title.
I love that. And I mean, there are many ways to be fortunate.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, and then my next question is, how's book 2 coming? So when we get to that twist at the end of book 1, and we're like, oh, I gotta know what happens. How long do we have to wait?
2026. So that's the schedule.
Yeah.
What is on the schedule for this month is research questions to get a plot outline and it's the 11th, and
And you've been a little busy.
yeah, but I've built different gaps in, so hopefully the gaps will give enough time to spring.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, but I'm hoping early 2026 is the time.
Okay.
Yeah, there's this thing with some readers that I've found out since I've been on YouTube, which is if you don't have a series completed, they won't start it because they can't run straight through it. And I'm like, it's a weird opinion, but different readers have different needs. That's totally fine. But that is not how I'm at the beginning of this one. So yeah, I'm a slow writer.
And then, so the remaining question is why choose the specific time, place, and characters? And we spoke to that question a bit already, but I was just wondering if there was anything else that you had touched on already that kind of falls under that category that you had wanted to share with the audience here tonight.
So time, because there were so many hard-hitting social movements just sort of coming to life in that decade. Place, because I'm obsessed with Scotland and really want an excuse to go back there. And characters, one of the trivia questions spoke to that. The widow had more rights, so I got to sort of experiment with more things. I will say that one of the characters in ORLA RAFFERTY is going to be the focus of Booktube, and she is, in this story, a nun. So that is going to take some different research. Yeah, I mean, I grew up Catholic, but I don't have 1830s Catholic knowledge in my head, so that's going to take some interesting exploration. Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. I wish I could be, a little mouse in your backpack and your suitcase for your travels.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be going back there in this year, but I think after book 2, that's a good reward or motivator. Yeah.
Okay. Well, are we ready to transition either back to the game or to the reading section now?
Yes, let's do the reading first, and then if anyone wants another drink, there's still drinks at the counter. Sophie over there. But let me do the reading part. Give you a little taste. Read it. I'm just starting at chapter 2 because I've already read chapter 1 and it doesn't affect understanding. Basically, we're starting with ORLA. She had a letter and she put it on the table because I'm sure no one here knows about like putting things off that need to be fixed. But yeah, that's where we are. Chapter 2. ORLA was in charity with the world as she swept back into her cottage that evening. The visit with Isabel had done her good, and the anniversary was settling quietly into the background of her mind. She hung up her cape, donned her apron, and did her daily round of chores. There was still the visit to her father to get through, but that would not be today. She wondered how her brother was doing at the inn. He'd married the widow who owned it and had been very busy learning the business in the past year. His correspondence had been warm and open, but she sensed he'd felt in over his head at first. When she went to see her father, she would stop in at the inn, since they both lived on the eastern edge of Glasgow. Once her small repast was finished, ORLA sighed in satisfaction and finally opened the letter. Very well, she said, let's have it out. As she read, she tried to remember the particulars of the reading of the will that day months ago when she felt muzzy-headed and dim with all the new information. The solicitor, Mr. Gitlings, begged leave to call her attention to a new opportunity in investments that would be a superb fit for her capital. Was it a bad fit currently, she wondered? Why the prompt attention when she had never known the solicitor to initiate business with her husband in their decade of transactions? Mr. Gitlings went on to introduce the new fund being offered at a handsome 9% return. It was to do with railway ventures, the latest invention to bring British commerce more immediately to British citizens. I know what a railway venture is, Mr. Gitlings, ORLA thought, piqued. She threw down the letter, exasperated at the way this kicked up the dust of all the adjustments she'd already made peace with. The nest egg was the thing to be counted on and never touched. That was how Robert had set it up. She trusted him. Who was this solicitor to think he knew her own welfare better? The pleasant mood from Isabel's conversation was spoiled. Orla sighed. Bring British commerce more immediately to British citizens. It sounded fine until Orla thought of all the places around the globe that Britain laid claim to, where British citizens lived. That would be a lot of railways. I worked at a dinner with the new minister. No, this was not something she wanted to get mixed up in. It seemed altogether too fast for her new, quiet, respectable life. She wanted to pursue her own interests, advance the little education she'd improved on during her marriage. She aspired to learn the pianoforte. Well, that was going to take a little maneuvering, but what she could do that week was explore the lending library and take a newspaper. That had been revolving in her mind for some time, and she was ready to engage in that small new step. The railways would have to wait. Wow. Thank you, Matt. And then for anyone who came in a little bit later, we have trivia/white elephant. So if you want to come up and pick a card, you get to take a gift and then answer a question if you dare. We have 3 left, so now's the time. Yeah. Or you can steal. So if you want to hold up what you got already and tell us what you have, we can guess. We have a journal, we have a puzzle, we have washi tape, we have page flags, and a mystery book-shaped object.
It feels book-shaped.
I don't pull a question. I promise I don't know the answer.
You never know.
You never know. It could be a
No, I think
That one's already done.
white pieces of paper, everyone. Yeah, to be done.
And what is Margaret's modal in the sense of most frequently occurring drink of choice?
So modal, because the average, the mode. This is me being math nerdy, even though I'm not a math nerd.
Got
The mode is
But we're gonna do math.
yeah. The occurs the most often in my life. Now you have to
In
guess.
your life or in the
No, in mine, because at the end, that's the Margaret question. I had different. Yeah.
gin and tonic?
No. But you can pick a gift, and then someone after you can steal.
Okay.
Choose whichever.
Is the answer tea?
The answer is tea.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're gonna wait to finish the game and see if anyone wants to steal because we have 2 mystery questions.
Okay.
Yeah. 3. Other than that. Yeah, that one part of another 3. Well, I don't know what to do if no one wants to go. Come on. Don't trip over the mic. Yeah.
This one on the bottom?
Sure.
Just your card, right?
Yeah. You're meant to take the whole thing off. You don't.
Beautiful penmanship.
Where did the rebellion in which Orla's father took part take place, mainly in 1798?
So what 1798 rebellion was there?
I'm gonna
They
get,
ring bell.
no. I'm gonna guess Ireland.
Correct. And the more specific place is Wexford, so southeast. Yeah. choose your mystery, or pick a steal if you want.
I'm gonna take this,
Okay.
very,
The biggest one. The biggest-
and I open it, right? Because I got the question.
Yeah.
I don't think it would.
I'm not a game designer, So I went over this several times and had many different possibilities, and like there are still things that I didn't
I
think
was
of.
hoping you were gonna ask how many shillings in a guinea, which I
Oh.
couldn't answer.
How many?
21.
Oh.
There's 20 in a,
There you go.
that's the difference between a pound and a guinea.
Yeah. Yeah.
One shilling.
And that's the thing that I keep on the desktop on my computer because I can't keep it in my head no matter how many times I look it up.
It was a journal. If not now, when? Which is a quote by Rabbi Hillel, which I know because I'm Jewish.
And the 1798 rebellion, failed rebellion, as many were in Ireland, and it's very complicated. Whenever I go in to research the battles that happened, it's often mixed with people being turned in and what's it called? People giving evidence for the crown, all sorts of mixed loyalties and very difficult circumstances. So it's great for fiction, but very hard to figure out for 200 years later. What's actually going on?
I'm curious about if your online people have been answering questions too.
Let's see. We got awesome. Nope, just congrats and more highs. I'll just say hello. Yeah. Oh, we got this. And then just a reminder, you guys have questions. We're almost to the Q&A part. And everyone who asks a question will get the drink coupon to come back and enjoy a coffee here. In case you're nerdy like I am, I pulled out copies of some of the songs that are from Chartism, and that is a movement towards political reform for the 1830s before it. And some really interesting Robert Burns poetry got turned into protest songs. So I thought I'd put them out for anyone who is interested.
I was wondering if he was showing up.
Instagram posts. Yeah. And but does anyone know a famous Robert Burns poem? What's that? Is that a poem that I don't know the title of? A noiseless patient?
Patient
Spider. Do you know what it's about?
It's the one that I'm like, hanging out, yes, hanging out in the hollow log, and the spider built a web.
Oh, wow. Nice. An ally spider. I like that. I don't normally go in for spiders, but that seems like a friendship. Any other famous Burns poems? Yeah, so we just had New Year's, and Old Lang Syne is actually Scottish for a long time since. So it's actually a Scottish song that we sing for New Year's because Americans. There's an alternate New Year's song that is often sung in occasions in Scotland, and that's called A Man's a Man. And it's the song that is getting to the equality of all men in a general sense of human. And so that's the one I can. Yeah, I was gonna say once my face doesn't get red anymore, but that's not gonna happen until we finish. So maybe I'll just have to sing with my face red. But there's an adapted version of that song on the handout, which is more particularly for the situation of chartism and protesting for folks' rights and everything. So I thought I'd include that. Cool. Okay. Any more trivia questions or any more hands up questions? Oh,
Do you know why they're called chartists?
yeah.
Please share.
So there is something called the Charter. I think in 1839, 37, 39 was the first time that they put this document forward. And it had basically 6 points that they wanted reform in, for more enfranchisement, for fair working conditions, for more representation, and fewer rotten boroughs, for example. And so this is what they brought to the legislature. And what's funny is the charter went to the legislature and was voted on 3 times in like 7 years. And there were huge demonstrations, there were thousands of people, there were petitions with hundreds of thousands of signatures, and nothing ever happened. But within 60 years, all of those demands, I think, all of those demands had been met through other methods. So it just gives you a little hope that, like, working for something, even if your goal doesn't get to be the shining star at the end, you still had an impact because those demands sort of worked their way into the consciousness and other people got them over the finish line. So, 60 years from now, it might happen.
Do you have Scots and beta readers? And do you have a relationship with a bookstore in Glasgow where you can, like, I would love to see you have a reading there, and I'd be so curious if you received in Scotland.
That's a great question. I wish I had a host bookstore in Scotland. If anyone is watching in Scotland, please sponsor me. I do have Booktube friends in Scotland, but let's see. So beta readers for the Scots. I don't write in Scots. I write with a sort of dialect that is what I'm hearing when I listen to media, and then I just sort of translate it into a few words and a few differences that people can tell, so they can differentiate between characters. I don't have beta readers for that. I don't have a sponsoring bookstore. Whenever I go to Scotland, there's Waterstones and there's Daunt. There's Blackwell's. There's some like big names, but I recently commented on a post from the bookstore on Isla, and if I had to go back to one and be invited to a festival, it would be the Isla Book Festival. And so I said, someday I'm going to be out there when you guys have your book festival. Fingers crossed for the future. That would be the dream.
Okay, so we talked about what you hope, or your question, or like how readers should feel at the end. My question is, who do you envision as your reader?
Good question. It changes. So I think often I'm writing to myself, an earlier version of myself. And what's funny is that after I finish a book and put it aside for a while and then come back and read it, I go, oh, that's what I was writing about. I didn't see it before. So I feel like there's things that are coming out on the page that are sort of in code, or like a magic seeing eye kind of puzzle that I'm still working through. So maybe it's for me. But I think the real answer is that I, just like the YouTube channel, I'm trying to express things to other people who are struggling either in the same ways that I am or in slightly different ways, to give them hope, to give them education, to give them like threads to follow to find community, to find other people to connect with around the same topics. Did I give you one? I just got a long text from my mom that said, just finished ORLA, and I was so impressed with how you detected how the system works. Because ORLA has to work around some of the things in the system. And I think you learned some things, and I want to ask you about them. So I have that to look forward to. Next, have a conversation with my mom. She'll let me know what I don't see in my own book. It'll be fun. Other questions? I can pull these and ask and see if anyone knows, but then everyone gets the yeah. And then you just open the one for the mysteries because I didn't come up with like what to do in the game situation. Okay, this is an M question about me. What is the name of the first novel Margaret published? Nope. Yeah.
Oh, I did.
Take another one. Yep. Yeah.
Book holder.
It's called a gimbal, which I think is actually a thing. I just a word I'm not familiar with, but yeah, you're right. You book on when you're reading. All right, and then the final question is an H, so history question. Name a contemporary work, TV, film, or book that is also set in the 1830s.
When is that?
1816, 1810. Regency. So the dresses stop here and then go down. In the 1830s, they're much more like bodice. Yeah. That's how I remember it. 1830s, anybody? Nope, that's Regency as well. I had one that stuck in my mind, which is, did anyone read the story of Anne Lister? What was the TV series called? Say again? Gentleman Jack. Yes. So that story is set in the 1830s. And I really wanted to watch that. There have been a couple others that I've the last one. Oh, this is my toothpick. Does anyone else know the song Amanda Man? There's. What are they? Page flag. I went a little crazy with page flag. I mean, just research. No page flag billionaires. Research. Okay, so I don't have this on the handout, but I do have the adaptation. So if anyone wants to join in, I'll just sing the original version. I need to look at this. So again, this is the Robert Burns poem that was about a protest. It's going to get real wonky for the live stream at this moment. That's okay. I'm just going to do this for the words. And I'll do a verse and a chorus and explain the verse in between because it's in Scots, so it might need a little explaining. But the spirit is what I'm trying to get at with the book, which is equal rights and redistributing and just calling attention to the inequality. So here's one of the verses. You see on Berkey caught a lord, what struts and stairs and all that, though hundreds worship At his word, he's but a coof for all that, and all that. His ribbon star, and all that. The man o' independent mind, he looks and laughs at all that. All right, so I did it in two different keys. So you see Jan Berkey called a lord, which means you see that guy over there calls himself hot stuff. He struts and stares and all that, though hundreds worship at his word. So he's listened to by all. He's but a coof for all that. And coof, just make up your own name, is insults for the period. For all that and all that, his ribboned star, and this is talking about badges and medals and things that people would get for status. The man of independent mind, he looks and laughs at all that. So if you really know your worth, you don't get put out by someone else who's thinking they're hot stuff. So after 5 verses of sort of illustrating his point, the chorus is, see if I can get a different key. Then let us pray that come it may, as come it will, for all that sense and worth o'er all the earth shall bear the gree, and all that, for all that and all that, it's coming yet, for all that man to man the world o'er shall brothers be, for all that. So, and that's the hopeful conclusion. So hopefully the book will leave you with the same feeling that come what may, as come it will, that sense and worth over all the earth shall bear the gree. And I'm not sure what gree means in this context. But yeah, it's coming yet. So basically we're talking about the arc. We're hoping. And so that's what I'm excited to spread with the book and the historical fiction. So yeah, thank you all for coming. And we got books over here. So if anyone needs a copy signed, I will station myself over here.
That's what I was just gonna. So we're open until 9, so there's plenty of time to relax. Book, have Margaret, get some autographing and so on. We've got more cappuccinos to make, which is Margaret's specialty drink for the evening, as well as other drinks or food or anything else that you're looking for tonight. We did just get our good wine license, so if anybody was open for one of those.